you all today. I brought along this book I've been working on. The last video I put one of the pages on here and covered it, and then I did the other one off camera. There were a couple of gaps here, so the corners that I cut off on this back piece I've stuck over here to cover those gaps in this side. This one I cut more of a steep angle, so I didn't end up with any gaps there. And then I've pulled out this paper, which I've cut down. This is scrapbook paper, which I cut off to make pages for the book. So this is a piece that I've cut off. So these are the pages I've put together that I'm going to put in a signature in this book. Most of it's just plain card, textured card. There's that scrapbook paper. But I will do another video showing how I put all that together and sew it into the book. So this was an offcut, and I was just measuring it out, and if I cut it in half, I will literally just cover these two pieces. So I'm just going to chop it in half to start with, and to do that I will just literally fold it in half and get my ruler and my blade. Just lay that up against the halfway mark. Use a blade. Always hold it nice and tight up against the ruler so that you don't go wibbly wobbly all over the place. So I'm pretty sure that this will. Now, when I put the back on, I actually put it on upside down. But this book's for me. I'm going to have my kids' photos in it from when they were little, the two of them together. So I'm not worried about the back being upside down. I'm going to leave it that way. So if you see that it's upside down, yes, I do know that. And I'm not going to worry about it because I actually put the paper down and then realised it was upside down, and I didn't want to pull it off and wreck the paper because I really love that paper anyway. So I'm not worried about it being upside down. If I was going to sell the book or do something with it, give it to someone else, I would have fixed it. But because for me, I'm not going to worry about it. So that's literally going to sit just there. You can just see it just covers over the paper. Get rid of those bright lines, and then we'll just do a pencil line, bring it to about here, and that's where I can cut the paper. I'm just going to turn this, keep checking that don't wander off frame. Actually, this side's not straight, so we might straighten that first. Is this side straight? That side's straight, so if we put the straight side on here, then we'll just cut off the crooked side. Would make more sense, wouldn't it? So round about there will be fine. I'm not too worried about where it actually sits, as long as it covers those bright lines. I don't want those on there. My ruler. I'm using the grid on the cutting mat to make a straight line, so I just line the paper up on one line and put the pencil mark against one of the other lines, and then you know you've got it straight. There we go, that's that piece cut off. And put this on here. And I'm going to Mod Podge these on. And since I've done the rest of the cover with Mod Podge, I thought I'll do the whole lot. It's made it, because it's already been covered once before, it's made it really strong. Like, it is super strong. A really strong book. So is the spine. The spine's nice and strong, but it's still a bit flexible because I've used the fabric on there, which is really great. Really happy with that. So let's see which side's straight. I'm guessing that side's straight. So if I line this up on my mat with one line there and horizontal line there, see that line's a little bit crooked. It's not much. So I'll put the straight line in here, and I'm just lining it up with this piece. This is not actually straight, so I'm not going to put that over there because I missed that, so that'll go over that way a bit. Again, it's my own book, so I'm not worried about it. If I was selling the book or doing something else with it, I'd make sure that was proper. So I just line this line up, the line on there, and put my ruler on here. Make sure it's on the right line. Hey, one thing I've noticed you got to be careful with this, not so much with these shorter bits of paper, but sometimes I have actually lined up with the wrong line up the other end. But you can see it's crooked here, so just make sure it's straight with all the lines. That's usually with longer stuff. You end up cutting things crooked. That's okay. So I got my 2 pretty pieces of daisy paper. There we go. It's going to sit there, and this one's going to sit here. Got my Mod Podge brush, my glue brush. I keep a separate brush for glue. Don't want my paintbrushes getting mucked up with glue because the glue tends to eventually muck up your brush. You can see that there's all glue in this part of it. So I'll keep them the same. So I'm just using the Mod Podge, the matte version. And I put a piece of Glad Wrap over here to help seal the lid to make sure it doesn't dry out, because sometimes I go a long time without using it. And my paintbrush has been in the water, so it's a little bit damp, which makes it a bit easier to spread, because sometimes it can get a little bit goopy. But you don't want your brush too wet, because then you'll water the Mod Podge down too much. But a little bit doesn't hurt it. So make sure I've got the whole area covered properly. And then put my piece of paper over here. Make sure I'm lined up. I'll line up both bits of paper. No, just keep it fairly straight with the edge. There we go. It's lined up with the top piece there. Then squish it all down. Make sure it's all in contact. Now, probably should use a bone folder here. I know I've seen some people ask questions about why do you use bone folder, and I'll be honest, I've had bone folders for years and hardly used them. Done a lot of scrapbooking and card making, and with that you tend to use double-sided tape a lot more often, and never really found the use for a bone folder. But since I've been doing this junk mailing and using a lot more glue, the bone folders really pushes your paper down for you and make sure all that glue, and if you start from the center and work your way out, make sure all that glue comes right out to the edges, so your edges are nicely sealed. Now I've done that, I'm just going to go over the top as well, because the rest of the paper is I've been done this way. And I used to find Mod Podge sort of ended up a bit sticky sometimes, and I don't know whether that's the gloss version, because this matte version I'm finding doesn't seem to be sticky at all. But if it ends up being a bit sticky, I'll put a spray sealer over the top. See how that goes. So that's one piece. Then we can put the glue on the next piece. I put plenty on. Don't scrimp, and you can go, I don't have to be neat because it's all covered in Mod Podge anyway, so an extra layer doesn't matter. Try to dip my paintbrush in without getting too much on there. So you want to have a nice layer covering the whole piece where your paper's going. No big lumpy bits. Make sure it's all covered so you've got glue on the whole section. And then we'll lay this one on here. And I'll line it up with this bottom piece. We pull it down a fraction. A little bit of wiggle room, but once you get it set on there, really haven't got much time to muck around and move things. That's why by the time I realised my back piece was upside down, I couldn't pull it apart. So I was like, oh well, let's just go with it upside down. Otherwise I would have pulled it off and ripped the paper and then went and cleaned it off and found some other paper to do it. But I don't think I have any more of this paper to do a whole side. So there we go. We just have an upside down side. It's a unique and quirky book. I plan all my books on being unique and a bit quirky. And I know that's not always true. Sometimes I do them very neat and tidy. But I also like being a bit quirky, a bit different to the norm. I'm just going to dip that in the water a bit because it's starting to get a bit splodgy. Like I said, we're in summer here, so it's 30 degrees Celsius outside. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. That's a reasonably warm day for us. And putting that water on there just helps that spread out nice and evenly. Then always towards the end, just do nice big long strokes to cover the whole piece that you've just done, and it just evens it all out so it's all in an even coverage on your book. And that's it for that section. So I'm going to sign off now, and next time I come back we'll go through my signature and I will probably sew that in and see where we go from there. So I hope you enjoyed that. Hope you're learning. Go and make your own books. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you want to know, and have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming. Bye.